It's Casual Friday, folks, and look at me, I'm dressed casually. Well, I kind of do that every day, one version of casual or another, I guess. I want to thank Brother Tucker, who, by the way, are playing tonight. That's their downtown. And they're playing downtown. They're playing over at Mullet's, 8 p.m. tonight, outside, and it should be a darn good night. I mean, it looks like the weather is going to hold, which is good news for us. Bad news for other parts of the state, and bad news here as well in some locations. Talk about that a little bit today on our program. I do want to thank the Iowa chapter of the Sierra Club and also Iowa Physicians for Social Responsibility, two great nonprofit groups that help make this show possible. I want to make a plug for Gateway Market and Cafe for sponsoring this segment of our show. And thank Tinker Heating and Cooling. Furnace work, AC work, give Leonard Tinker a shout. Diana's Wedding Cakes, also out of Newton. Diana's Wedding Cakes, again, I'm working hard on Maddie to buy her dang wedding cake from Diana's. I don't know if I'm going to succeed or not. But,
okay, well, I have a family friend who wants to do it.
Oh, you have a friend.
If they can't, I will for sure call them.
Okay, I'll remember that. All right. And there's also the Immigrant Entrepreneur Summit coming up on November 9th. That is a great event, and if you're a small business person or would like to open your small business, give them a shout and register and participate as a one-day event. All right, so plenty to talk about. Heather Ryan's going to join me later. We're going to talk hardcore politics. The governor's race starting to shape up on the Democratic side. Unfortunately, since Governor Branstad remains coy, we don't have a good sense of the shape on the Republican side. We have a great shape of the sense of the Democratic side for the U.S. Senate race, and that is going to be a one-man operation. Bruce, Republican side, and every time you turn around, a new Republican who you think might be a logical candidate because they've been elected before or they've got some tenure is saying no. Well, we're going to talk about the latest no on the Republican side. We're also going to talk about Michelle Bachmann. Folks I know are trying to decide whether they should be happy about that or absolutely. And we're also going to talk about the state Senate seat. When Jeff Katz runs for governor, which he's doing, this state Senate seat here in Des Moines will open, and Tony Buzzignano. And if you're fairly new to the political scene, you might not remember Tony, but he served in the legislature a long time ago. We used to fight all the time. He's going to be on this program next Friday, I believe. But it's going to be something we talk a little bit about when we talk a little bit about today, as we analyze the political lay of the land. But regarding the lay of the land, water, we're getting way more than what we'd like. But again, it's pretty par for the course anymore, folks. If you're still among those who are denying climate change, I know there are people who deny the Holocaust. There are people who deny. Gone beyond people who deny that the earth is round, but I mean, this is the facts are in, okay? It's the verdict is delivered. We have climate change happening, and the impacts are we're seeing them every day. We're seeing them every day. And this month was an incredible month for showcasing what climate change is doing with our weather. Again, 6.9 inches of snow, 6.9 inches of snow, breaking the record by a factor of 6. The previous record was 1.1 in Des Moines. And then we had temperatures, a little over a week later, hitting 94 here in Des Moines, hitting 106 degrees in Sioux City. I mean, it's incredible. And now we've gone from drought, and ironically, there are still a couple parts of the state, little areas in northwest Iowa, that are still considered, under a drought, which just seems funny, considering what's happening in the rest of the state. We've gone from drought statewide. I mean, a drought that affected the country so badly last year that we had the federal government pitching in $35 billion in drought relief. And now we're turning around, and the federal government is no doubt going to be pitching in lots of money, again, billions of dollars in flood relief. We're going from one extreme to the other, exactly what the climate scientists predicted. And this is getting serious. If you saw the news today, they are sandbagging the Memorial Union at the University of Iowa in Iowa City. And that's very uncomfortably familiar with people. Cedar Rapids Mayor Ron Corbett is talking about Well, he feels okay about where they're at on the Cedar River. They're predicting a crest of about 20 feet today on the Cedar River. Remember now that the crest back in 2008 was 31 feet. 31 feet. That was so far above and beyond anything that had happened previously. 20 feet. That kind of crest is unprecedented. Is it? Well, unprecedented? No. It's very, very unusual. And it could get worse before it gets better. Again, the forecast is starting to get a little more friendly. Less rain on the horizon, but with the river levels as high as they are, we're not out of the woods yet. We're not out of the water yet. We could still see major flooding, and we're already seeing it in certain isolated localities, certainly in Story County, along the Skunk River and Squaw Creek. They're seeing some major issues there. Here in Des Moines, I know there's an event planned at the Simon Estes Amphitheater. As I'm looking at the photograph from yesterday's paper, again, which is probably lower, the water level is probably lower in that picture than it is today. Well, Simon, you could actually be on the Simon Estes stage, but you would have to get there either by raft, bridge, or you could walk along the ledge between the floodwaters and the river itself. You know, it's this May is now being said to be the wettest May on record. This spring, meaning April and May, is the wettest spring on record in Iowa. You know, there's no two ways about it. We have to adapt. There are some places like Moore, Oklahoma, and I hate to tell you this. I hate to tell my audience in Moore, Oklahoma. Do I have an audience in Moore, Oklahoma, Maddie? I don't know. I might.
I just assume so.
You just assume so? Okay.
Automatically.
All right. Okay. So apologies to my friends in Moore, Oklahoma. And again, our hearts go out to you, and our pocketbooks go out to you as well. I know people have been very generous about trying to help out. But the situation there, you're in the path of one tornado after another. You might want to reconsider building there. You really might want to reconsider that. And we might want to reconsider where we build here in Iowa as well. I know when you've got so much investment in a downtown like Des Moines, like Iowa City, like Cedar Rapids, maybe your best bet there is to just build incredible flood walls, protect yourself against the rising tide, so to speak. I know we don't have tides here in Iowa, but the rising waters at any rate. But there are a lot of other places that maybe we should say that, hey, that town needs to move. And I know that's begun to happen. That's begun to happen. And it should probably happen more sooner rather than later, and more often rather than less often. All right. Excuse me. We'll keep an eye on the waters, folks. And again, we should just expect more of the same. Now, excuse me. Okay, so one more thing on this issue. We like to think that America leads the world in so many ways, and we have. I mean, historically, we have done some amazing things that have caught on across the globe. And I'm not just talking about jazz, rock music. I'm talking about, maybe credit the British on that. But labor law, progressive environmental policies in the past. I mean, right now, though, the primary, impetus for progressive reforms is coming from Europe, largely, to some extent, places like China, even, and Japan, where we're seeing high-speed rail, for example, that isn't even on the charts in this country yet. Well, apparently, also we're lagging behind in terms of modeling hurricane activity. We've got a pretty impressive computer, I guess, but it's not impressive enough when you compare it with the European model. The European computer, headquartered in the United Kingdom, as it's called, predicted 8 days before landfall that Sandy would hit the East Coast. Now, I mean, for those of us in tornado country, you don't even get 8 minutes. Again, you're dealing with a much smaller path. Well, I know some of these tornadoes are now a mile wide, but you're dealing with a smaller path. Ideally, you've got a basement you can get into. That's another conversation. But the hurricane, huge footprint, vast area, lots of perspective for damage. It's nice to have a little warning. And again, America's computer, our computer, did predict 4 days out that it would hit the East Coast. The 8-day prediction from the U.S. computer model was that it would go out to sea. So the Europeans got it right, the U.S. got it wrong. Cliff Moss, who is a professor of atmospheric sciences at the University of Washington, wrote, quote, "Let me be blunt, the state of operational U.S. numerical weather prediction is an embarrassment to the nation, and it does not have to be this way." Now, I don't know all the technical stuff. Actually, I know none of the technical stuff, but I do know that with weather events becoming more and more severe, the more we can do to prepare for them, the better. And we have to come back to the other issues are, being notified is important. Getting out of the way is important, and not just getting out of the way when the storm hits, because when the storm hits, you come back to nothing. Whatever you had is gone. The logic is to begin to downsize our imprint in sensitive areas, coastal areas, floodplains, tornado-prone areas, areas that are prone to wildfires. I mean, there are just places where human beings begin to turn it back to the wild stuff, okay? Turn it back to nature. Because nature itself is changing. It's the severity of its activity. We're in a new climate era, folks, and we should expect that these things are just going to get worse, more dramatic. You know, the other too is insurance. I'm going to get some insurance on this show. I want to talk with insurance folks about how this is affecting that industry. It's kind of remarkable to think about because I don't know how you insure. What do insurance policies look like in Moore, Oklahoma, after this tornado? After the fourth this was worse, but fourth tornado of significance in that area. What do insurance premiums look like in the wake of Hurricane Sandy, with the climate model saying that this is not a unique event anymore? I mean, we got to be thinking about this stuff, and unfortunately, we are not. All right. I want to talk about one more thing here before we go to a short break, and then when I come back, there's some great letters to the editor out there, and I use the word great seriously and at the same time sarcastically. There's some interesting thinking going on. Some of it in the LTE page, some of it in your 2 cents worth. I want to share some of that with you when we come back. But just a brief mention of the property tax compromise. I tend to agree, not with my friend Dan Kelly, but with the Des Moines Register. I tend to think the Register has nailed this right, except they called it a compromise. I would call it a failed attempt at compromise when you, quote, have, 2 weak proposals that, or two, how do they call it? They call it watered down versions. There were 2 watered down versions, one in the House, one in the Senate, that were married together. And that is a compromise, but if the compromise comes up with something that doesn't do any good, I mean, I don't see the good in this. Walmart still gets a tax cut. Do they need a tax? Do we need to be giving tax breaks to companies that aren't even headquartered here in Iowa, that come to Iowa, that often get subsidies from local businesses that end up putting mom and pop shops in a number of areas out of business, that end up vacating small towns nearby that aren't big enough to land a Walmart? I mean, do they need a tax break? Maybe they need some kind of a tax penalty, Again, and small businesses were supposed to get a boost from this. I don't see that happening. And the Register points out that that one thing in this property tax bill was that commercial property is now taxed at 100% of its market value. So apartments, that means that apartments will be taxed at roughly half. Okay, no, that's currently under the bill. That'll be changed to be that commercial property apartments will be taxed at half of their market value when the law is fully implemented in 10 years. The Register thinks that's good news for renters, and they say if landlords will pass along the savings, and I say, ha ha ha, landlords will not pass along that savings. The only thing landlords might pass along to tenants is if their property taxes go up enough, they'll pass that on. But if they get a cut, no, they're not going to pass that on. It's not going to happen. No. So, I'm trying to find the good in this for the average person. I'm not finding it. And for the cities, cities are dependent upon property tax, which we all pay, whether we pay directly as property owners or through rent. Again, if my landlord's rent goes up, or his property taxes go up, my rent's going to go up. There's no doubt about it. So cities are going to be getting less because of these property tax changes. The state says, well, we feel your pain and we're going to give you some money back, but they don't give it all back. And that's basically a tax shift. So I'm really having a hard time seeing how this compromise is anything but failed. My thoughts on it, we'll talk more about that as we move forward and see how it begins to be implemented. I want to remind folks about the Matthew Shepard Awards Dinner coming up on June 7th. Great event here in Des Moines, Friday night. I believe it's at Hy-Vee Hall. All the details are on my website. The parents of Matthew Shepard, Dennis and Judy Shepard, will be speaking. I want to remind folks about Tally's Restaurant, Bar, and Catering, again, open this weekend, and also Sunday for brunch. Had dinner there last night. They got some new stuff on the menu that's really good. I had some chicken. I had some pork cutlet. Okay, my vegan friends just all cringed. But it was really good, as was the spinach salad and the polenta that went with it. Hawk Restaurant, folks, also open this weekend, of course, and for Sunday brunch. One of my favorite places, and I was just so impressed with the owners getting 90% of what they serve from local farms. And I want to thank Gateway Market, my grocery store, and it could be your grocery store as well. Maybe it is already. Thank all these businesses for supporting the alternative to right-wing talk radio. And remember, let's keep their business here in town by supporting them. Because if we turn the entire local economy over to a bunch of chain businesses, that's money that is just drained out of our economy. I'll be back in a few minutes, folks. We're going to talk a little bit about some of these letters to the editor and 2 cents worth. One guy giving up all hope. Somebody else with an interesting take on the 0.05 alcohol level proposal. Someone else with an angle on Michelle Bachmann that I thought was entertaining. And speaking of Michelle Bachmann, Heather Ryan's joining us. We're going to talk more about Michelle Bachmann's departure from politics with Heather Ryan, along with some of the stuff happening in the U.S. Senate race here in Iowa and the Iowa governor's race. We'll be back in a minute.
Concept Studios. This is Webcast One Live.
Drug and alcohol addiction slowly steals a person's identity, tearing away pieces of their life little by little, until one day it seems like the hope of a happy future is gone and there's no chance of getting it back. Here at St. Gregory Retreat Centers, we can assure you that there is hope. Our unique approach to recovery begins with the understanding that the dysfunction and damage caused by addiction can be overcome, not just dealt with. Don't let another day go by. Call St. Gregory today.
Well, good morning. This is the 7th of June in the Lord's year 2010, and this is day one, webcast1live.com. We will begin with Max World Live with my special guest, Tom Coates. In just a minute, there's Tom. Wait. Howdy. And we will be live for the very first time on Webcast One Live. Someday we're going to look back on this and say, gosh, remember that old day in history? Wonder where Walter Cronkite was. He must have been around hanging there too. But actually, it's the beginning of Webcast One Live. And thank you for listening. Thanks, Rob Spearman, and everybody who's put together this project together. And we're ready to go live now. So thanks for listening to MaxWorldLive.com.
I can't tell you that it's going real well from time to time, but it is going, man.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Yo, some Neighbors, Neighbors. I love that tune. It's Ode to Jones. Gosh, I like I like bluegrass. I find myself humming Rocky Top a lot lately. I find myself trying to play it on the piano and finding out that it actually works better on the accordion. I think a rendition of Rocky Top as an accordion solo would do well at the State Fair accordion competition this year. I may try to pull that together. Yeah. All right. Hey, I want to remind folks again about the Matthew Shepard banquet coming up on June 7th. Very important event, helps with all the efforts to further the cause of GLBT equality here in Iowa. I want to also thank some of my business supporters, Fighting Burrito. They're at 13th and Locust here in Des Moines, also on Welch Avenue in Ames. Speaking of Ames, Story County Veterinary Clinic, another one of my Story County business allies. A veterinarian, Kim Holding, is your physician, well, your veterinarian. I guess that's not really a physician. You're a veterinarian with about 32 years of experience. Give her a shout for your pet needs. And also Ritual Cafe on 13th here in Des Moines. Not just a cafe, but also a music venue. Great stuff happening nearly every Friday and Saturday night. Okay, Heather Ryan will be joining us shortly. And folks, let me throw out the phone number there. We got one person on the line already, and we will start taking calls right at the bottom of the hour. 244-0077. That's 244-0077 or toll free 855-244-0077. And you can always, if you're shy, don't want to talk to me, if you want to write instead, email works just fine. It's fallonforum@gmail.com. That's fallonforum@gmail.com. All right, so I get a kick out of the 2 cents worth section of the Des Moines Register. I don't always read it. I got a little time, and I feel like, reading the most edgy material you can find in print, I give it a shot. Some of it, though, sometimes there's just a lack of logic involved. This one, I agree with the positions. For example, what Iowa is doing to the fish industry with their awful water pollution is kind of like continuously flushing our toilets onto other people's heads. Okay, that's very graphic, and maybe there's a way to work that into. I don't know what to do with that. It's just it's almost like you've gone too far. I understand the problem. It's horrible. We got to do something about it, but I'm not sure that it's like flushing toilets onto other people's heads, especially when most of the pollution is either nitrates or I'm going to say soil. All right, anyway, this other one. The nations that have a blood alcohol content law of 0.05, and remember ours is at 0.08, used to be 0.1, have decent public transportation. America doesn't. It was built around the individual automobile. Changing that, putting it from 0.08 to 0.05, would fill the jails and bankrupt many businesses. Let's find another way to save lives. Or let's get better public transportation. That's the logical conclusion I can come to there. Now, I might agree that going to 0.05 is a bad idea for a number of reasons. Filling the jails is always a bad idea, except that we're filling them with Wall Street executives that stole money from smaller businesses and their customers. But yeah, 0.05. We would have to have a very serious debate about whether that makes sense. And actually, I'd want to have a couple of people on the show talking about that, and probably we'd serve alcohol during the program, and then I'll take a breath test after the show. So, but the bottom line is, yeah, if 0.05 is good in countries that have public transportation, again, maybe the argument there is we should get better public transportation. All right. All right, so Sandy writes in the Des Moines Register, leaders are needed to guide us on energy. This is interesting. You have to read between the lines. The whole thing is something you're like, I feel good about that. Energy adversely affect this. They sure do. She says, because of the large of petroleum use. Okay, I'm liking that. Maybe we should use less petroleum. Maybe we should use other sources. The companies like mine are starting to hire more people because of the increased demand, because the economy is improving. And yet more expensive energy will have a detrimental effect on our recovery. Higher energy costs also force me into a position that every business owner dreads, having to charge more for my services and laying off employees. I mean, all the heartstrings are being tugged here. Both of these could be avoided, here we go, with policies that promote domestic development of energy. I like that too. I like the domestic development of wind or solar or biodiesel or maybe hydroelectric. Dan Kelly's going to have to work on me a bit more to convince me of that, but I'm willing to have that conversation. So you think she's going or he's going in that direction? Sandy, he, she, don't know. Again, saying these problems could be avoided by policies that promote domestic development of energy, which makes us less reliant on foreign energy sources. Okay, that's the key word, foreign energy sources. So, you know, this could easily be a promo for the Keystone Pipeline, for Drill Baby Drill. I mean, all the right things are being said. He or she, again, Sandy, I don't know what to say, continues, working toward energy independence also means we won't have to worry about wars breaking out in the Middle East and disrupting energy supply. Again, yeah, you're pulling the right strings there. We need to stop sending billions overseas for a product, here we go, that we can get in our backyard. And doesn't even specify what that product is. I'm thinking, okay, wind, okay, solar, yeah, all these other things, biodiesel, conservation for that matter. And then the writer concludes, let's keep billions of dollars right here in the United States instead of increasing taxes on energy. I think that's key right there. It's a letter to the editor that is very, very clever because it says all the right things without actually saying, but we need more oil and coal and natural gas from the U.S. But I'm not sure. I mean, it's so well done that I can't tell you for sure, but I think that's where Sandy is going. I hope I'm wrong, actually. But I would think that if Sandy was going to promote wind or the other renewables, he or she would have come right out and said that. Because, you know, it's becoming less popular to do that. It's becoming more popular right now to be subtle about the idea that we need to drill for oil. That's good. The fact that you have to hide what you really want to do on that is encouraging. Maybe we are heading in the right direction. Okay, I want to thank again the Matthew Shepard Award Dinner for sponsoring this program and remind people about that coming up on June 7th. Also want to thank Sergeant's Garage at 6th and College Ave. As I've said, they have fixed and helped pull together 4 generations of Fallon mobiles. I want to remind you, too, if you've ever got a piano to move, or maybe if you want to buy or sell a piano, and this is a piano moving anywhere in the country. Sean Clausen with S&P Piano, I know he moves pianos clear across this country, and he would do that for you. Dan Kelly, also state rep, but also a real estate agent. So if you've got property in Newton or want to buy property in Newton, give Dan Kelly a shout. Again, I want to thank all of my sponsors. You can get more information about the businesses that support this show on my website, FallonForum.com. Okay, we're going to come back momentarily, and Heather Ryan's going to join me. We've got some politics to cover here. Another Republican candidate dropping out of the race for governor, or for U.S. Senate, rather. We don't even know who the Republican's going to be for the governor's race yet. There are already 3 Democrats lined up on the D side. One Democrat pretty much has a lock on the U.S. Senate seat. Things are getting interesting in other ways as well, because Tony Bisignano is talking about throwing his hat back into the political ring after a long absence. And perhaps most interestingly of all, Michelle Bachmann will be dearly missed as she departs her seat in the Minnesota delegation of U.S. Congress. We're going to talk about all that when we come back here on the Fallon Forum.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Drug and alcohol addiction slowly steals a person's identity, tearing away pieces of their life little by little until one day it seems like the hope of a happy future is gone and there's no chance of getting it back. Here at Sanctuary Retreat Centers, we can assure you that there is. Our unique approach begins with the understanding that dysfunction caused by addiction is overcome, not just dealt with. Don't let another day go by. Call St. Gregory today.
The dawn of a new era begins. From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Remember, folks, that cap is there for your protection. It's to keep the incredible glare from my glossy, beautifully bald head from blinding you and making the show an impossibility to watch. So be grateful for that hat, okay? And it's Casual Friday, folks. I'm casually, but hey, Ryan, you look like you're balled up with some kind of frilly black and white thing. What the heck is that?
Well, you know, this is the one thing Michelle Bachmann and I agree on. Never go on camera without makeup and something crazy. So
Crazy?
She's got the crazy right here. I've just got the crazy shirt. She's got the crazy eyes.
She wears crazy, and you wear
wears it
crazy,
well.
and she talks it.
She wears crazy well all over her body.
So I imagine probably is disappointed at Michelle Bachmann jumping out of politics as Tina Fey was disappointed that Sarah Palin didn't become vice president.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
that is a good analogy, yeah.
You don't do imitations, but still.
So you know. So you don't know.
Well, maybe you do. Do you do Michelle
I do a good Sarah Palin. I don't do a good Michelle Bachmann.
You do a Sarah Palin imitation?
Oh, yeah, no, I do, yeah. I can do a pretty
What are you,
good...
Canadian or from Alaska?
Exactly. It doesn't matter. Didn't she go to Canada for her health care when she was young and because they couldn't afford
who
it?
wouldn't?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But then she was against it in the United States. But you know, those little details.
You know, I once received health care in Canada. This is totally aside. I was living in Canada. I wasn't working. I was helping out at 2 organic farms in northern Nova Scotia. I was there in the winter just watching cattle, watching horses. And while I was there, the government passed a new law saying that any bottle could be redeemed for a dime.
Any bottle.
A dime. Maybe it was a nickel, but I went out to old barns and buildings and houses and I found dozens and dozens of bottles and cans. I collected literally $35 worth of bottles, which that's Canadian money. That's about $10 here. But I sliced my finger on these bottles, so I had to go to the hospital, and they wouldn't take me because I didn't have any. I wasn't Canadian, but they charged me for fixing it up. It was only $35.
So
in
every
other words,
bottle that you returned paid for your
exactly.
finger.
Every penny I made finding bottles is what I had to pay to get my finger fixed up. I still have the scar from it too. They didn't do a great job, but that's neither here nor there.
I cut my finger in high school. I'm still paying that bill, just so you know.
Oh, really? All right.
Yes.
Well, I want to talk. I want to cover a lot of ground today in this segment of our show. Michelle Bachmann, the U.S. Senate race here in Iowa, the governor's race, the Iowa Senate seat opening up. Folks, 244-0077. I know Heather has a lot of comments on most of these races, but let's go to our phone lines and welcome Bob. He's been waiting patiently for a while. Bob from Pella. Hello, Bob. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Ed.
What's on your mind?
Good to talk to you again. It's been a while.
Likewise. What are you thinking about?
Well, I'm thinking that your listeners may also not be aware first that Jim Graves also dropped out of the race today.
Jim Graves.
Oh.
Yeah.
Jim Graves.
Why does that sound so familiar? Why do I know that name?
Why don't I know that name?
Because he's the one that was going to run against Michelle Bachmann until she dropped out.
So why would he drop? He's a Republican?
Yes.
So
he's Democrat.
So why would he not run if I would think that would make his life a little easier. I mean, I don't know the guy from Adam.
Because according to the Huffington Post article I read, it's because his sole desire was to drive her from Congress, and
mission accomplished.
That having done,
I don't think that had a lot to do with him, but if he wants to claim responsibility, we'll give him some credit.
So why do you think Michelle Bachmann dropped out, Bob? What's your thought on that?
Well, my thinking on why she dropped out is because I honestly think that she would have been beaten had she run again.
But why?
I mean, Graves came within inches of beating her last time.
Okay.
And
that is true. I remember that was fairly close last time.
Right.
The Democrats poured money into that race this time the way they did last time. She'd lose.
So what do you think, Heather? Does
She's got too much record.
Well, yeah, and a lot of it's kind of crazy talk. But what about this lawsuit, Heather? Do you think that affects the decision that Michelle Bachmann?
Absolutely. Absolutely. The lawsuit is going to tarnish her image, and it would be easier for someone to beat her. You know, when I first saw that she was dropping out, the lawsuit, I wasn't so convinced just because I didn't realize all of the, the behind story, the backstory of it. But, the first thing I thought when she was dropping out is she's got a job at Fox. And I'm not even kidding. I really thought she signed a contract to be a pundit because that would make anybody, for a couple $1 million, that'd make anybody drop out. But, the more you learn about the backstory and the improprieties in her presidential campaign and all of the issues that she's got going on, it's going to
So is that enough to ixnay a career at Fox?
No, come on now. Darn it, tarnished image. Do you know who Fox hires? That's a prerequisite to work at Fox.
It's on the job application.
I'm not even controversial enough to work at Fox.
Wow, that's saying something.
Yeah.
Part of the job application says, how badly is your image tarnished?
Exactly. And I worked with pageant people for years, and I'm not tarnished enough.
Yeah.
So
what do you think, Bob? Is the lawsuit? And again, the lawsuit. I mean, Michelle Bachmann has Iowa to thank for that lawsuit. That happened here. It involved Ken Sorensen. It's still going on. Do you think that has an impact on her decision?
I think that it's going to drag a lot of her time down the tubes, but I think she'd rather get out cleanly with a pension than get out by expulsion or under a cloud of scandal, demand, or censure.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the other way to get out, of course, is to get beat. And as you pointed out, she came close to losing last time. But I don't know whether she would ever be censored by by her colleagues. Legislative bodies are really hesitant to offer any public criticism of their members.
Of themselves.
Yeah.
They don't want to throw
it happened to Charles Rangel.
This is true. It does happen once in a while.
On occasion. But I don't see it happening with Bachmann Crazy Eyes. I don't see that, no.
Bachmann Crazy Eyes. Yeah, Bob, what's your take on some of the other hot races here in Iowa, the U.S. Senate race, the governor's race?
Well, my primary issue is smokers' rights. We've gone round and round about that. So I'm going to be looking for a candidate that wants to bring us back to the way they were, the way the laws and taxes were regarding smoking.
So wait a minute. You
smoking meat like turkey and chicken, and like putting it in a smoker, like for Thanksgiving, smoking a turkey. I'm all about that. So I believe in those rights too.
I'm talking tobacco. I'm not quite there on Iowa and marijuana mixing yet.
It's just a matter of time, I think.
Well. So states are moving in that direction, but I don't think it's right for Iowa.
Okay, but if you support cigarettes being legal, why not support marijuana being legal?
I didn't say I didn't support marijuana being legal.
Okay.
What I said is that I don't think it's right for Iowa yet. I don't think Iowa's ready for it.
And I'm not convinced that we're ever going to go back to the days when smoking could happen in a public establishment. I just don't think that's going to happen.
See, I see that coming about after 3 or 4 of these to the brink of fiscal disaster situations, which, oh, by the way, were what happened right before alcohol prohibition got repealed.
Well,
we had a depression, and taxation was moving too much money away from Main Street, too much money into Wall Street.
Right.
That collapsed. Nobody had any money.
It's an interesting
except the
theory.
government, and the government had all the taxes.
It's an interesting theory. I'm not sure. I got to run to a break, Bob, but thank you. Interesting position.
I still want him to smoke turkeys for me.
Turkeys.
I'm all about some turkey, Bob.
Well, what do you do with the butts? Anyway, Bob, thank you for the call.
All right. You're welcome, Ed. Good to talk to you, Heather.
Yeah, thanks so much, Bob. We'll talk to you soon.
I want to thank the $1 Million Marathon for sponsoring this segment of our show. That's a cross-country event starting on June 21st, going from the West Coast to Washington, D.C. Sound familiar? This is an event to raise money and awareness for cancer research. It's sponsored by Above and Beyond Cancer. to thank Max Wellman for providing music for this segment of our show, and Sid's Catering as well. Sid's Catering, you can get information about her fantastic offerings at Catering by Sid online, and also remind you about the Immigrant Entrepreneur Summit coming up on November 9th. We'll be back in a few minutes, folks. I want to talk about the Iowa races. We talked a little bit about Michelle Bachmann. Tony Bizignano is looking like he's throwing his hat back in the ring. And for those of us who've been around for a while, we know Tony. And Tony, in fact, is going to be on this program next week. But that won't stop him from talking. That won't stop us from talking to him behind his back today. Heather, I want to get your take on the governor's race as well as the U.S. Senate race.
Rag midget race.
And
Do not forget the rag
dwarf wrestling.
Little people wrestling. Yes.
Okay, dwarf wrestling. And we'll be back in a minute, folks.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
I'm Brian Leach, owner and general manager of Service Legends. I brought along a couple of the home comfort heroes.
Hi, I'm Tammy Wells.
I am Nick Wondershide.
I'm administrative manager.
I'm the senior technician
from Service Legends.
It seems like every good thing, when you feel it to the bone that it's good, there's a lot of hard work put behind it. I don't think that you can fake it and have it turn out good.
You know, if we seem like, okay, that's just weird, it's just a furnace, why would you believe so deeply in a furnace? It's not just that, you know, we want to show the world that you can have good service.
Yeah, I mean, it's your home.
You know, it's built into our daily trainings, it's built into our culture, that we're gonna do whatever it takes to have each client say they love us, period.
That's why we spend all the hours in the training that we do. And if we guarantee it's gonna be a good experience for you, or else it's free, what type of work do you think we're gonna do?
There is a guarantee.
Temperature selection guarantee, fixed rider it's free guarantee, comfort guarantee, best value guarantee. All of these guarantees hold us accountable to ensuring that we exceed your expectations. And if for whatever reason we'd fail and we can't make it right, we guarantee all of those guarantees with a 100% money back guarantee.
I mean, if you don't think that your technician can fix it right, are you gonna say that to a client? No.
You don't have to worry about having a technician come to your house.
We drug test, background check all of our team members. We put safe people in your home. Each and every one of our service techs, 400 hours a year in training.
You tell it the minute they walk in the door. They know what they're doing, they've done their homework, and they actually truly care about what you want.
Because at the end of the day, you're the person that makes sure I have a job.
They're gonna be listening. They're gonna wanna know what your challenges are. Then they're gonna come and give you options, and you get to choose.
If I'm there to make it easy and painless, I did my job right that day.
Well, when it comes to your comfort, safety, and your family, you know, you don't necessarily go buy the most expensive, but you get the most bang for your buck.
Oh, it's worth it, because there's a lot of people that will find a way to get it to work right now, and then leave, and then come back, charge you again, and the cycle just repeats itself. So when I'm out there looking at the furnace, I want to find why it failed today. How can we change the part today with something that you're not going to have to worry about? Is it worth changing the part today? I mean, you can put a lot of money into a furnace. I can fix parts all day. There's good job security in that for me, but is it the right thing for you?
I get a lot of the phone calls of after the technicians are there. They're just in awe. They're like, wow, you guys are great. I mean, I don't even know what to say. You guys are great. Everything you did was perfect. It was great.
Keep going though, I like this.
Just give us a try. I'm gonna take all the risk.
I've got the time to make this right. I've got the support to make it right.
Just check us out.
And if you don't see the value in what we do,
I mean, fixed rider, it's free or 100% money back.
enough said.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
That's Mary McAdams, folks, and I want to remind you once again about the Immigrant Entrepreneur Summit coming up on November 9th. They're the sponsor of this segment. I am grateful for their support. I want to also remind you about Tinker Heating and Cooling. Leonard Tinker's been doing that stuff for 3 decades. Yeah, he's an old guy, but he still knows how to fix a furnace and an air conditioning unit, and you should give him a shout at 371-2114. And don't forget Hawk Restaurant for a fantastic meal. Again, 90% of the food that Suman and Cynthia Hawk serve at this restaurant is from Iowa local sources. 90%. Give them if you haven't been there before, check it out. If you've been there, I'm sure you're going to go back. Story County Veterinary Clinic and Kim Holding. In Ames, she sometimes comes to Des Moines as well. She was attended to my lovely little cat, and she's been doing that work for, again, over 3 decades. That's Story County Veterinary Clinic on Highway 30 between Ames and Nevada. Okay, so Heather Ryan in the studio with me. We're done talking about Michelle Bachmann.
We are done
We're
for
just
now.
Done
For now.
And
She'll do
apparently,
something else.
we're done talking about Matt Schultz, a possible candidate for U.S. Senate as well.
Apparently. I'm thinking it's going to be a cake ride for us Democrats. I'm surprised.
Yeah, well, I'm not a Democrat anymore, so I can't say us Democrats.
I mean, us as in the collective Democrats, not necessarily you and I.
Yeah. By the way, that was it's you're right. I mean, I think it's going to be a cakewalk for Bruce Braley.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, what about the theory? Again, Latham has said no. King has said no. Kim Reynolds, Lieutenant Governor Kim Reynolds has said no. Who else said no? David Vaught has said no. He's gone off for another job. In fact, Bill Northey has said no. I mean, there's nobody. And Matt Schultz was like, well, maybe here's one guy that has some electoral experience.
Right.
And he says no. There's nobody left with any depth or background or name recognition.
You know, I'm going to throw the challenge out there and tell Terry Branstad he should run. He should just take the gauntlet. They're shaking but he should take up the gauntlet and run for Senate. Terry Branstad. That would be an entertaining race. I would love to see it. Plus, it would vacate the governor's spot, and we could get a Democrat.
I don't know if Bruce Braley would want to hear that.
It's true. Terry's like never lost an election his whole life since like junior high, but I think Braley could still take him out, and we'd get a Democratic governor. So it's kind of a win-win.
Maybe. Yeah, I'm not. First of all, I doubt that's going to happen. I think Branstad likes being.
No, I'm just throwing it out there. I'm taunting him. You know, King stepped out because
I'm not sure I would want you to taunt him that way.
King stepped out because I knew I wanted him to run. That's why.
That's why. Yeah,
because I taunted King. So now, if I maybe reverse some psychology.
Your former spin on that was, Ed, you were right. Now you've changed the story a little bit here.
You know, it's all about the spin.
It's all about your taunting of him, yes. Well, nobody taunts a politician as well as you. You do a great job.
I do. So I'm two things. That's one of them.
You should get a job on Fox News.
I wish I could.
The wrong political persuasion.
I'd be like the Hannity and Combs, but I'm not such a weenie. So
no, I mean I think Fox News likes Democrats that tend to be a little bit weak, so you'd never have a chance there at all.
Not in a million years, no.
Okay, so now there is a theory, of course, that Tom Latham will be He's continuing to be pressured to get in. He will eventually decide to run, and then it'll be an interesting race, and Braley won't have the cakewalk that he looks like he probably has now. What about that theory?
I don't see it happening. Latham just won his seat. It was a very hard-fought battle. I don't see him giving it up right now. I would be very surprised if Latham got into it.
Yeah, that's we're agreeing for a change.
Sorry.
Sorry that we're agreeing. Yeah, no, I don't see that happening either. But again, I mean, there could be a lot of pressure put on him because they don't. I mean, these are the options right now that they're looking at. David Young.
Who?
Exactly.
You know.
Exactly. David Young. Okay.
All right.
He's
Michelle Bachmann's available. She can move down
well,
there.
she's from Iowa. She's from John Wayne's town, Waterloo.
Winterset?
Oh no, John Wayne Gacy. Sorry, I get John Wayne and John Wayne Gacy mixed up all the time.
Even near each other.
I get Waterloo and Winterset mixed up all the time. Once I was on my way. I was on Highway 330. And next thing I knew, I was in Waterloo and I wanted to be in Winterset. I said, "Where are the covered bridges? Nah, what's wrong?
I can't find them."
No. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, that's not going to happen. But here are the options. I mean, David Young, he's an aide to Senator Grassley.
Now, didn't he say he was going to run? He is going to run.
He's going to run. He's going to
running.
run. I'm saying, I mean, Bruce Braley, you got to be loving that one.
He might have a decent list, right?
I don't know what he's got. He's been chief of staff for 7 years. Yeah. I mean, I don't know what you can bring to the table from that point of view. And then there's Matt Whitaker, who his first comment relevant to a candidate was extremism, and immediately started backing. And for him to become a candidate that is anything less than undesirable to a large segment of the electorate, he's going to have to remake himself because he is an extremist. He's in the same mode as Steve King and Michelle Bachmann. Again, this is nothing against him personally. I just think when you've got extreme views, that are, again, if you have views that are pushing society forward, progressing us toward a greater good, a new challenge, one thing. But when you're trying to drag us back, when you're trying to continually malign gays and lesbians.
Now, that's not their spin now, is it?
No, it's my spin.
They're not trying to pull us back according to them.
No,
they're trying to bring us back to the good old days when women didn't have those things called rights. We don't really need those things.
Well, you do, yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, there's probably, you never say that anymore, but who knows? That may be...
don't say it. I'm sure they say it.
Well, they might. I don't know. But they certainly say it about gays and lesbians and about immigrants and
everybody other than them.
Yeah, I don't see a candidate like Matt Whitaker, who is really very extreme in his beliefs, being able to distance himself from those beliefs. And then Paul Lundy. You might be too young to remember Paul.
I don't.
Candidate for Congress. He won a primary once. Total squad Neil Smith. He's not a candidate that's going to go anywhere. He's kind of like the congressional version of Harold Stassen, the former governor of Minnesota, who ran president 8 times. And after the first couple times, he wasn't seriously anymore. I don't see how Lundy. I don't even know if he stands on issues. He has positions worth listening to, but I don't know how he gets taken seriously in the track record of having run so many times, lost often.
Well, progressive, I'm grateful that all of the serious candidates have dropped out, because that means that Senator Harkins will be safe.
Yeah.
And that makes me do a jig of joy.
Jig of joy. Heather's jig of joy. My gosh.
Braley's gonna win.
Quick, man, move the camera away from Heather before she embarrasses herself anymore.
Don't let us stray. We have to talk about Ragbri.
Okay.
Do not let me forget.
All right. Anyway, so that's the Senate race. On the governor's side, I mean, it's all the actions on the Democratic side, because Branstad won't say for sure what he's going to do.
He's going to run. He can't lose. He's going to run. I mean, that's not even.
He can't lose. So between Cash, Tom Wilson, and Bob Krause, they have interest in running on the Democratic side. Any early favorites on your part?
Jack Hatch. I think he's a good candidate. He's got obviously a really good chance of winning the Democratic nomination. But beating Terry Braindead.
Well, but come on, the nomination at this point hasn't he? The thing is hardly started.
And he did say he'd step out if Swaycheck came up and said he wanted to do it, or if Vilsack. But I don't know.
But they're one of those three candidates that have actually run anything statewide. Bob Krause. I mean, I don't think people should write him off. He's articulate. He makes a lot of sense. He doesn't have the deep connections that Hatch has, or that Tyler Olson has. I mean, Tyler Olson's connections are pretty recently developed. He's just recently become the party chair. But I write Krause out. And again,
we'll see. We've got a long way to go yet.
And I think if Terry Branstad doesn't run, you'll see even deeper field, because that will increase the prospects
Terry
of a
Branstad's
Democrat.
running. He's not going to stop double dipping on that pension and the salary. Right. He's going to run.
You're probably right.
He's so full of himself. He cannot run.
One political thing before we move on to Heather's favorite topic, dwarf wrestling.
I just told all my friends we were going to talk about it.
We are going to talk about it. The race for Jack Hatch's seat. I mean, maybe it won't even be a race. I have a feeling there will be a race, and there should be a race. There should be an open seat like that. There should be a primary, especially in a district that's very Democratic. There should be a spirited Democratic primary. Tony Bizignano was already announced. Well, has he announced? He's already an endorsement, so I presume he's announced. A labor union has already endorsed one candidate before they even know who the other candidates might be. And, I used to fight with Tony all the time. I like him. I mean, we get along fine, even though he's a Yankees. That really is the best argument against him.
See, I don't know that much about it, but now I'm not so sure.
Well, I mean, Yankees, that does show a serious lack of good judgment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
I mean, Yankees, that's the Walmart of baseball.
Just saying the word.
But I'm sure Tony will have some good tips for me about that when he's on this program on Friday. But it'll be interesting to see what happens in that seat, because this is a primary now that people have a long time to prepare for. This primary won't be till next March. Mm-hmm. And I really doubt there will be nobody else running.
You doubt there will be nobody else running. So
I suspect there will be others running.
Okay.
Let me get the double negative out there and make it easier for you and my audience both.
It was a little hard to follow. Okay, so you think he'll have a lot of opposition in the primary?
I think so. I mean, these seats.
Well, it makes it interesting for us. So I hope so.
It's a good conversation when the voters have options. When they hear about different opinions, different issues get discussed,
I agree.
What's interesting to me is that, I can't remember which labor union it was now, but one of the more powerful local labor unions is, of course, Bizignano, without knowing who else is even in the race.
It was like Ask Me or AFL-CIO or something.
I don't think it was AFL-CIO, but I'm not sure. Was it A?
It was A.
Yeah.
Whatever that says. All of them start with an A.
Animal lovers, local. Yeah, okay.
Animal lovers of the ukuleles.
Yeah, whatever.
Whatever, I don't know.
That is a great segue to something equally inane.
Inane.
Midget wrestling.
I know.
I mean, I've already mentioned this a couple times on my show, and I really don't want to talk about it again.
I want to talk about it.
Talk about it. All right.
Because I disagree. I think you think that it is inane, and people are like,
What is inane?
But I get where people are coming from. You know, I get that they don't want to be degraded in such a way. They don't even.
When nobody's making them get in the ring and wrestle.
Wouldn't you say the same thing about, well, nobody's making her be a prostitute, or nobody's, you know, it's.
Yeah, I would actually support legalizing prostitution. I do. I'm for government out of all that stuff. Tax it like they do in Holland.
You know, and I'm torn on it because
places.
I want little people to have a viable way to live too.
I think prostitution is very degrading. I want to make sure I'm clear on that.
Okay.
But I don't think government should be telling somebody that you can't do that. I think that's where, as a guy who lived in the inner city for 19 years, what do you do when you say no? When you say prostitution is illegal, you create areas where prostitution becomes so common that it keeps you awake at night. I remember the time when several times when I would find condoms on the street. You know, legalize it, tax it, regulate it. It's a much better way than just what we're doing now.
I'm not saying that we should outlaw midget wrestling.
Okay.
I'm just saying that I can understand how people would be upset about it because it is a spectacle, and you might feel like people are laughing at you rather than enjoying a sport that people actually enjoy. So I get it. I get why people be upset. I'm personally upset, but we hosted Matt Roloff and his family in Paducah at a nonprofit for a fundraiser that I did, and they were perfectly friendly people, and they struggle every day.
Who's Matt Roloff?
He is with Little People Big World. He was on TLC for many years. I think they had 7 seasons of Little People Big World, and they came and did an episode at the theater that I used to manage as a nonprofit. So perfectly wonderful people. They just struggle with equality issues, and so that that's close to my heart.
So what about the Wizard of Oz? Were the Munchkins taken advantage of? Should they decline? Should people not watch the Wizard of Oz?
I don't think people laughed at the
being...
Munchkins, did they? You know, they weren't laughing at them. And in midget wrestling,
every time I see
bowling, you're laughing at these people being
lollipop
injured.
Kill, the lollipop kill,
and
the
some of those were played by
I
children.
laugh hysterically every time I see that. I can barely get through
and
without
I
laughing.
laugh that you're doing it.
Well, and I want to see you do it. There's what are the 3 little
the Lullaby
female.
League?
The Lullaby League. That one. Okay, cut her mic again. Cut the mic. No, so I mean, it's what? Okay, so is it Dallas Center has all been out of shape because they feel this is going to make them look bad. How does it make them? I mean, it might make the bar owner look bad. Maybe people will boycott the bar. More likely they're going to go there in droves.
Probably.
But I don't see how it makes Dallas Center look bad at all. I mean, any more than people sliding down a beer slide on the main street of your town makes during Ragbri.
There
I mean,
are beer slides? Where have I been all my life?
Well, you haven't on Ragbri apparently.
That's true. I have not.
Or people streaking naked through your town on bikes on Ragbri.
Where have I been? I get to go to Ragbri.
I mean, Ragbri is just a crazy party, and it should never.
Is that what the Walk for Climate Action is going to be? Just
no,
like
my gosh, we're going to be very no.
Man.
This is not a party. This is a very serious. Sorry to disappoint you. It's a very serious.
I thought it was serious, so it's a good thing I signed on for serious rather than partying.
Yeah, and no, you did actually, but it would be interesting to see what happens if the Dallas Center City Council does anything to prevent or regulate what's going on. I don't know whether they can. Is
that what they're saying they want to do is to prevent or regulate it? I thought they were just going to have a discussion.
They were going to have a discussion, but the discussion might lead to action.
Oh, well, that's interesting.
And you could theoretically put the kibosh on midget wrestling in Dallas Center.
I guess you can put the kibosh on anything. So midget wrestling's one of
Not
those
anything.
things.
There's some things that you can't put the kibosh on, like freedom, for example.
Like free speech. Wait.
Yeah. All right. Well, there's ways of putting the kibosh on free speech, as we discovered. Anyway.
Yes, we did.
All right, Heather, thank you for joining us. Heather Ryan, and she's got her own special music. She's so cool. Anyway. Thank you again to the Immigrant Entrepreneur Summit for sponsoring this segment of the show. Again, thanks to Tally's Restaurant, Bar, and Catering in Beaverdale. You been to Tally's?
I have not.
You have been there with me once.
Have I? Oh,
yes.
Oh, yes, you're right. You're right.
Yes.
Yum. Yeah.
Time to go there again, apparently, because you forgot.
Apparently, yes.
Okay.
Well, I've been going down too many beer slides. I can't remember
Right.
these things.
Going to too many midget wrestling tournaments. I want to thank Community CPA and Associates also for sponsoring the show, and Ritual Cafe at 13th and Locust. Folks, please support the businesses that make alternative talk radio possible, talk radio/TV. I want to thank the folks at KHOI 89.1 in Ames for running this show on one of their programs on Wednesdays, and also KPVL up in Northeast Iowa. And I want to thank my producer, Maddie Arrington. Maddie, wave to the audience. Everybody see Maddie waving? Oh, you can't see Maddie waving. I want to thank Webcast One Live and remind folks about all the great events coming up this summer here in Des Moines and across the state. Folks, I'll be back on Monday. I can't do that.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Drug and alcohol addiction slowly steals a person's identity, tearing away pieces of their life little by little, until one day it seems like the happy future is gone and there's no chance of getting it back. Here at St. Gregory Retreat Centers, we can assure you that there is hope. Our unique approach to recovery begins with the understanding that the dysfunction and damage caused by addiction can be overcome, not just dealt with. Don't let another day go by. Call St. Gregory today.
Well, good morning. This is the 7th of June in the Lord's year 2010, and this is day 1 of webcast1live.com. We will begin with Max World Live with my special guest, Tom Coates. In just a minute, there's Tom. Wait. Howdy. And we will be live for the very first time on Webcast One. We're going to look back on this and say, gosh, remember that old day in history? Wonder where Walter Cronkite was. He must have been around hanging there too. But actually, it's the beginning of Webcast One Live. And thank you for listening. Thanks, Rob Spearman, and everybody who's put together this project together. And we're ready to go live now. So thanks for listening to MaxWorldLive.com.
I can't tell you that it's going real well from time to time, but it is going.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.